Today's Proverbs 31 is one of my favorite Proverbs, and I love to read this through, so listen well, take good notes. Verse 1, chapter 31 of Proverbs says, "The sayings of King Lemuel contain this message, which his mother taught him. O son, my son, O son of my womb, O son of my vows, do not waste your strength on women, on those who ruin kings." Obviously, they're talking about negative women or promiscuous women, women that they're not talking about godly women. So she is telling her son how to deal with women that only take lustful women. "For it is not for kings, O Lemuel, to guzzle wine. Rulers should not crave alcohol. For if they drink, they may forget the law, and not give justice to the oppressed. Alcohol is for the dying, and wine for those in bitter distress. Let them drink to forget their poverty, and remember their troubles no more." In other words, as a king or priest, you don't have to have a supplemental happiness. Being someone who drinks or gets drunk would indicate that life is not enough. Maybe even God is not enough to keep you happy. So the mother is encouraging her son, who is great, a king, to realize what he has and rejoice in that intoxication rather than having to falsify that. I think it's great advice. Great advice. "Speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. Ensure justice for those being crushed. Do great and mighty things," she's saying. "Be a man of honor, a man of greatness. Yes, speak up for the poor and the helpless, and see that they get justice." Verse 10 is where the part that I like really begins. "Who can find a virtuous and capable wife?" The answer is not many. Just like who can find a faithful man. There's very few people that say what they mean what they say, and live for God all the days of their life. You can be that person. It's not impossible. You just have to make your decisions correct. "Who can find a virtuous and capable wife? She's more precious than rubies. Her husband can trust her, and she will greatly enrich his life." I wonder what he can trust her to do. I wonder if her husband, her covering, her pastor, her leader, can trust her to be behind him all the time. I wonder if you are a wife, if your husband trusts you to not put him down, to not make him feel bad, but to always honor him and respect him. Can he trust you about that? If not, he probably won't give you his heart as readily as he could, should he be able to trust you. He knows he's not always right. He knows he's not always the smartest one in the room. But he also knows that he gives his life for you. And for that, he desires to be respected. And he wants to trust you that when he does give his heart out, that you won't step on it. That's what I think trust means. Her husband can trust her, and she will greatly enrich his life. She brings him good and not harm all the days of her life. Not just some, not just 20 out of the 30 days. And she doesn't give excuses. She brings him good and not harm. She is a helpmate that brings enrichment to his life all the days of her life. She finds wool and flax and busily spins it. That would be like something that you make clothing out of. She is like a merchant's ship, bringing her food from afar. She gets up before dawn to prepare breakfast for her household, not just her husband, but for her children, and plan the day's work for her servant girls. She's organized, she's capable, she can cook, clean, and organize. What a powerful tool that would be for God and for a husband. She goes to inspect a field and buys it. With her earnings she plants a vineyard. She is energetic and strong. She's a hard worker. You know, ladies, let me say this, is that your husband, if he goes to this church, will be taught how to guide, to guard, and to govern, to direct, correct, and protect, and to give his life for you, and to love you unconditionally. But let me help you with some things. Nobody, you or nobody else, likes someone who whines all the time, complains all the time, someone who is sick all the time, someone who is weak all the time. That is not attractive to a man or a woman. Please remember these words. She is energetic. She is strong. She is a hard worker. Verse 18, she makes sure her dealings are profitable. She's smart. Her lamp burns late into the night. She doesn't mind working for the good of the family. Her husband will respect her for that. He should not abuse her for that. He should respect her for that. Her hands are busy spinning thread, her fingers twisting fiber. She extends a helping hand to the poor and opens her arms to the needy. She has no fear of winter for her household, for everyone has warm clothes. She cares about her children, and she cares about herself, and she cares about her husband. That's beauty to a man, someone who is a partner that cares about the house like he does. Verse 22, she makes her own bedspreads. She dresses in fine linen and purple gowns. She takes care of herself. She's not disheveled. She doesn't walk around in only old warm-ups and never does anything with her hair or never puts any makeup on. I think it's important that a woman dresses for her husband more than she dresses for other women or dresses for other men. If you dress better for the job that you work at than you do for your husband, you're going to have a real tough marriage. Verse 23, her husband is well known at the city gates where he sits with the civic leaders. The reason he's well known is because of his wife, because she takes the pressure off of him and he's able to discern correctly and make big decisions because he's not worried about the fight he's about to have when he gets home. Verse 24, she makes belted linen garments and sashes to sell the merchants. She is clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. She trusts in her husband. He's her covering. She trusts in her God, for she has no fear of her future. Ladies, that is what's attractive. Someone who laughs with no fear of the future. I can't tell you how many times I've counseled men that could go no further because their wives were full of fear. Ladies, don't be an anchor to your husband. Be a sail to your husband and help him get where God has called him to go. Verse 26, when she speaks, her words are wise, and she gives instruction with kindness. She's not harsh or mean. She doesn't cut with her tongue. She gives instruction with kindness. Ladies, one of the challenges that you probably have, and you've heard it from your husband, is whenever he feels like you're being overbearing or trying to teach him or tell him what to do like a little child. Remember, your children are your children and your girlfriends are your girlfriends, but your husband is the man in your life. Treat him like that and you'll see a whole nother side of respect and love from him. She carefully watches everything in her household and suffers nothing from laziness. Her children stand and bless her. Her husband praises her. There are many virtuous and capable women in the world, but you, Proverbs 31 woman, surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty does not last, but a woman who fears the Lord will be greatly praised. Reward her for all that she has done. Let her deeds publicly declare her praise. I love this scripture. I just think it's so appropriate for women and men to understand what God would call the perfect woman. Now, listen, we all understand that we fall short of perfection, but we should be striving for perfection. And if you're not happy in your marriage, you're not happy not being married, maybe you need to line yourself up with the mirror of Proverbs 31 and begin to ask yourself some questions about what you bring to the marriage. I love a clip. It's in the movie 300, and it's where Leonidas is going to war, and his Spartan bride comes to him, and as he's leaving, she looks at him, and she notices his shield, of his battle shield, and she makes this statement to him. She says, either come back with your shield or come back on it. You see, ladies, men love to know that you have confidence in their abilities to win, whether it's winning a paycheck or winning a fight or whatever it is. They know that they will go through a wall for you if you will simply be behind them and not tear them down. Respect is what every man wants. And if he's a good man, I think you need to give it to him. If he's not a good man, I'm not talking about physical abuse, I'm just talking about he's immature in his character. Sometimes if you'll give him respect, unconditional respect, he'll grow into that man because he appreciates it and has probably never had it before. He should be in a good church, a church like Powerhouse, where we teach men, cover men, love men, and help men become the very best they can be so that they can do the same for you. It's been great being with you on Proverbs. We'll start again tomorrow with Proverbs chapter 1, and we will go out of the Message Bible. So if you don't have one, find that translation so you can go with me. May the Lord richly bless you. See you on Sunday.